The Hindu-Jewish Coalition of America held its first formation meeting on November 5th at the American Jewish Committee office in Washington, D.C. Participants discussed shared challenges and opportunities between the two communities, including combating Hindu phobia and anti Semitism, fostering US India and US Israel partnerships.
Well, the significance of it is that the Jewish and the Hindu communities in the United States have so much in common, not only in the terms of the obvious commonality of the need to stand up to some of the hate that's directed at them, some of the bias and discrimination that's taking place, for example, on college campuses and all of that. But the foundation of this is that we have so much in common in terms of our cultures, values, and our appreciation of each other. We in the Jewish world have a lot of history and organization on advocating for ourselves, all of which has come very, very sensitive and very, very ramped up at this time, of course. Our Hindu friends have shared with me that while they have many Hindu organizations, they have not yet had the experience over enough time to get their organizations to the place that we are in terms of advocating for themselves, and had expressed how much they would appreciate it if we could work with them. And indeed, many local synagogues, federations, other organizations are having that kind of interplay between Hindus and Jewish. We're not starting something brand new in terms of the ability of Hindus and Jews to work together. More importantly, this will be the first national place that Hindu organizations and Jewish organizations can come together to advance their common goals.
And what are the activities is going to be?
Well, this organization is going to have to define for itself exactly what those activities are going to be, but certainly among those that we're going to start with is going to be at university campuses, where we're going to bring the Hindu and the Jewish populations of students together, more than they already do through the Hillel and through the Hindu student organizations, in an organized way to advance opportunities for mentorship, jobs in the marketplace afterwards, appreciation for and celebration of each other's holidays, and an appreciation also of their respective religions, their respective cultures, and how they're able to be proud Americans while at the same time having a great interest in and a great advocacy for their homelands.
Can you give us a sense of the threat that the two communities are facing in the US and the world in general?
Say that again.
Can you give us a sense of the threat that the two communities are now facing in the US and the world in general?
Well, yes. The Jewish world, since October 7th, and certainly since October the 8th, 2023, are facing existential threats. First, at our homeland, Israel, where murder and barbarity and all kinds of horrible things took place on October 7th that are not unspeakable because they need to be spoken of, but are horrible to have to talk about because you've never seen such barbarity in modern times. And the Israelis are going through some very, very tough times. They went through that. They've gone through the 2 years of war with Hamas to get their hostages back and to remove the threat of what Hamas posed right on their southern border, not to mention Hezbollah to the north, not to mention attacks from Iranian proxies in Syria and in Yemen. They talk about the 7-front war. There's an 8th front, and that is anti-Semitism, which exploded as if it was the Jews and the Israelis who did something terrible on October 7th. It's positively incredible to have to deal with the reality that the victims are the ones who are being blamed for everything. But we have to fight against that. But what we're really seeing here in the United States is how our young people, their minds, and I'm not talking about Jews, but certainly some Jews as well, but their minds have been ambushed by an educational system that has been teaching them false histories, false accusations, and creating an atmosphere in which, here again, Jews are being seen as the oppressors, as the privileged class oppressing other people, rather than as the contributors to the better good of this country. It's just astounding, and we have to do something about it. What we've learned from our Hindu friends is that the Hindus, thank God, are not getting it in the same proportion that we are, but in a very significant way now are finding themselves in the crosshairs of that very same movement,
One
and by
last,
the same people.
how do you think we can fight, Hindus and Jews can both fight or build correct information, awareness building in the universities and campuses?
Well, first of all, one way is to do what we did today, which is to form a coalition of these organizations. And one of the things we certainly are going to be doing is setting up the ability to have a common database, to set up the ability to have the sharing of information. We have within those organizations who will be supporting us, for example, we have Jewish and Hindu organizations that are specifically doing that, tracking hatred, fighting hatred, who spoke here today at our meeting and have expressed their desire to not only share this information and share their programs, but to make this a joint effort. And together, as one of our participants said today, 1 + 1 can equal 4, 5, or 6. And that's what we hope to do.
Great, wonderful. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Today's event is actually a historic event. We who have been working in unifying different communities and different cultures over last few years are realizing that Hindus and Jews are natural allies and natural friends. We have similar values, we have similar family background, we have similar educational priorities. We also face very similar opposition and similar challenges. And it has come to surface that Hindus and Jews, we like to work with each other, and we don't convert others, and we don't force our views on others. We improve the communities where we go with all these commonalities, and we are the two most ancient civilizations, two most ancient religions in the world. Therefore, a lot of maturity, a lot of depth. Coming together of this community can create a force for greater good, for global good. So today's meeting is actually bringing together Hindus and Jewish leaders who believe in making this world a better place by bringing two communities together, because both communities are committed to making the world a better place, and they are less about division, they are less about polarization, but they are more about unifying factors. So bringing them together is actually going to be monumental for America. We are patriotic Americans with our motherlands in our heart. Indians think of India as their motherland, ancestral land. Jews think Israel as an ancestral land. Even many Jews who have never been to Israel also consider Israel as their land of ancestry. So with that in our value system, with our love for America, with our love for humanity, with our love for life, for next generation, I think coming together and pursuing common goals is very important. Hindus have their unique internal challenges on getting organized or following a certain political force, which we are still learning. Jewish people have mastered it. So there is that natural complementary skills. Hindus people are increasing in number as through migration, and Jewish people do not have any more migration happening in this country. So we are larger in numbers and getting larger. Jewish people have figured out how to actually have the presence and the power and the voice. I think it's a powerful combination, and it's a need of the hour.
So, what are going to be the next steps of this coalition?
Next step is that we will be building together Hindu-Jewish Coalition of America. I have been a part of Hindu-Jewish Coalition of New Jersey. We have been working at it for a number of years. We have been doing events. We have been bringing communities together. We already have mastered the template. We already know what works and what doesn't work. So some of us are coming together and bringing it to a national scale. So today's event is actually a launch of Hindu-Jewish Coalition of America.
One last question: what are you think the biggest challenge that the community is facing, which is common between Hindus and Jews both?
Propaganda war that we are not able to somehow win. We are being talked about without our input into it. We are misunderstood and purposely maligned, purposely being negatively portrayed, which impacts our next generation, which impacts us in a very negative way. We face hate crimes, we face hate, misunderstanding around us. So those are, I think, the commonalities which impacts our next generation. So both communities are concerned about our next generation as well.
And who are behind this propaganda war?
A lot of people who have different agendas in making sure that communities that are thriving, communities that have unifying factors, it actually goes against the agenda-driven communities which seek to divide and rule, divide and conquer, divide and have their divisive, violent, barbarism type of an agenda. So anybody who aligns with those negative agendas of division are the enemies, or I wouldn't even use the word strong word as enemies, because in Hinduism we don't say there is any such thing as enemies. It's only the bad thoughts, not bad people. So those are the thoughts that we are hoping to contain and hopefully transform through education, right? We believe in light. Light dispels the darkness. Knowledge dispels ignorance. So knowledge is what we want to bring forward to our own people about who they are and how their own civilization is great. So other people who are trying to shame us will not be successful. And also bring that light outside so other people can see us and our good intention to make everything better around us.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Lalit.
Today.
I tell you, we actually, as Hindus and Jews in local areas, we've been doing it for quite a few years, and especially after 7th October, it has accelerated in the local areas. But now to do it at a national level is the most important thing, because the exposure, the publicity, which we've not been getting at the local level. So we all feel good about it. We do things, and of course, it's important to do at the grassroots level. But to have a national organization where all the leaders can put their efforts together, put our resources together, and it's good for both the communities. As we realized that the Jewish community also realized after 7th of October, after having these billions of dollars and having all these assets into hospitals and media and Wall Street and everywhere else, they were demonized. They were in their own Columbia University, which they own part of the buildings, and their students were not allowed to go in. So they had a very hard lesson. So then they looked up to us, and of course we need them too, because they are a lot more organized than the Hindus are. Hindus are always, everybody's a chief. There are not too many soldiers, unfortunately, too many organizations, which is both good and bad. I have nothing to do with it. And we've been always, trying to make money, American dream, become a great doctor, great IT professional, the CEOs in Silicon Valley. But politics, we want to stay away from it. Our temple say, no, don't bring politics into it. But I think that is the need of the hour. Right now, the political empowerment is very important. And once the Jews and Hindus get together, we had a few, George Latimer, against Jamal Bowman, then we had gotten together. They put $1.5 million. We gave them $5,000. And we got 50% credit. The guy won and Jamal lost. So similarly, we have many other examples which we are trying to do. And we already trying to expand Americans for Hindus 18 chapters so that we can get wherever the Indians are, so we can get them all together and empower them. But now coming Jews together and strategizing things together, not only socially, culturally, spiritually, even economically, we can utilize some of their resources along with the Hindus, because we have shared values, we have common enemies, we have a lot of things which will align together. It's never 100%, but I think close to 90%. So it's a very, very good partnership, very good coalition. I think today was the first day. I hope it goes very well.
sometimes we start and then it's not get sustained. It doesn't scale up. It's very easy to start, but always difficult to sustain, like any other business or any other things that you find it even in the media.
Right.
So it's but I think if you hang in there, keep doing the work, and some of us have been there for decades, and now we think this is the need of the hour. And
So
this is
America for Hindus is expanding quite fast now in 18 states. Based on the feedback that you get from these states, what are the biggest challenges that Hindus are facing in the United States?
Well, the Hindus, as you know, people don't realize the Hindu phobia, Hindu hate, vandalism of the temple, whether it's casteisms, whether it's many other areas where the discrimination is happening, and we are unfortunately sandwiched between the two. We are not the victims, so people on the left side, whether it's Black Lives Matter, or Islamists, or Khalistanis, or many of these guys have ganged together and they became the victims, and they don't think Hindus are victims because they're doing so well. And when they're on the right side, I think these guys, in my opinion, I don't know if that's true or not, the really right wingers, the ultra right people think that we have become number one per capita income earners, and we are taking over many of these areas, whether it's medicine or now especially with the AI, high tech, and everything else. And they think I don't know if they're jealous or whatever the reason is, so they don't adopt us either. And especially when of these evangelists and some of the other people are getting stronger with the current atmosphere, they are even trying to, dismantle us even more. So we have to build our own identity. I think that's the biggest challenge, which people do not realize, that we have to have our own Ashoka pillar, our own identity, then only we'll get respected. I think if we have 40, 50 congressmen who become our mouthpieces, who understand our values, who can understand our concerns, our issues, our interests, and then it's not only just the hate and Hindu phobia, even professionally, even our medical professions, a lot of things are happening. Even in the IT professions, a lot of, whether it's immigration or H1B visas, all these things are happening. People being deported. I mean, many of the innocent people get deported. It's not always, illegals or the criminal people getting deported. Many of the innocent people also becoming victims to that. So some of those issues are very real in the real life. And we as Americans or Hindus, I think we're going to address that. The only way we can address if we have own identity. I remember these 26 Khalistanis in Canada. They were holding on to Trudeau like anything. So because they were a force, so Trudeau used to listen to them, whatever their cause is. Well, I don't subscribe to it, but anyway, it's a good example.
So
And
for you, political empowerment is the most important thing.
absolutely.
To that aspect, what are the efforts that Hindus for America is doing?
So, like I said, we're building the infrastructure. So we are 18 chapters. We want to have 50 chapters in all the states and Washington D.C. And in the meantime, we are trying to get our own candidates from school board level to the highest at the president level. So we are trying to get Hindus and pro-Hindus. If we can get all the Hindus at one time anyway. So there are a lot of people who are going to stand with us, who are pro-Hindu, and we're going to support them, help them, endorse them, fund them, campaign for them, and make them our mouthpieces. As whether it's through the caucus, we have a Hindu, Buddhist, Jain, and Sikh caucus, where we are 26. We want to have more than 50, not only just for the namesake and number sake, but they should be totally involved and engaged with our interests. So, which is lacking right now because we don't have the resources. But hopefully, once we get a lot more people, and the biggest challenge is that some of the Hindu Americans don't really open their pockets that much. But some of the other communities, like the Jewish American community or even Muslim American community, Sikh American communities, they open their wallets and they're very good at it, and our people are not. But I think they're coming to their senses now after what happened now with Mamdani winning up there, and some people got scared. I think a lot more Hindus are calling us. They'll get better, and they think they are doing a lot better than us. But it's a good role model. At the same time, you don't want to be always countering and go against them. We should learn and build our own identity. So everybody should get respected, all the minorities. And we don't want to be called supremacists, just like white supremacists, Hindu supremacists, because we are the most peace-loving people. Our culture is beautiful. Loka samasta sukhna bhavantu, Vasudeva Kutumbakam. We totally believe in it. And with those values, we want to empower the democracy, and it's not going to only help our community, but the community at large in America and the world.
Thank you so much. Thanks a lot.